In this video, I'm going to talk about how tight hips affect your low back and the knees and more, and why it is so important to have a good hip mobility. Our body is an interconnected whole. Everything is connected. Your hips are connected to your knees and your ankles and your spine, your neck, shoulders, and everything. Just because your knees are directly below your hips and your spine, your low back is just directly above your hips, they are directly influenced by what happens to the hips. If you don't really move well through your hips, then you have no choice but you have to compensate. So you start putting more strain, stress, work through your knees and your low back, right? For example, if you don't have the ability to flex well through your hips to support your sitting, standing, and bending movements, then, well, guess what happens is, well, you're going to start stressing your low back because you don't simply have the ability to actually move through your hips functionally. So therefore, your low back is taking a toll because of that. So that's probably not a good thing, right? And this is why if you don't have a good ability and to move through the hips and particularly flex through your hips while you're sitting on the floor, then you probably can't really sit on the floor comfortably. And therefore, you don't even try to sit on the floor because it is uncomfortable for your low back, right? And for people who don't really have the ability to control the pelvis and stabilize the back, stabilize the pelvis and the hips well while standing, and then they may find that they tend to overly extend arch through the low back and stressing the low back, not very comfortable. And so sitting or standing for a long period of time or walking for a long distance, not so comfortable. Therefore, maybe choose not to do standing activities so long. Or if you go to a shopping mall or grocery store, then you find relief in your low back when you are pushing a shopping cart, right? Because it takes that pressure off your low back because you don't have to use your hips to control that, right? And so you can see this is really, really vital. If you don't know how to use your hips, then most likely or more likely that you're going to injure your low back or the knees. But that means that you can, if you learn how to move well through your hips and functional activities, then you can actually improve your low back and you can improve your knees. Not only that, your ability to move well and through the hips, and it gives you a much greater freedom to move, just generally speaking, because the hips are the ball and the socket joints. Has the ability to move in 360 degrees, right? All different planes of the motion. You can flex, you can extend, you can rotate, you can bend sideways, the combination of all, right? So if you do have a good ability, and you must have a good awareness to use that available range and to move through your hips, and through the functional activities, then you're going to reduce the stress to all the other parts of the body. It is very, very important, right? Since we are, or I am, sitting on the floor, if you're not sitting on the floor, and I will invite you to sit on the floor. And if you're not really comfortable sitting on the floor, then, well, you could try to make it a little more comfortable by sitting on the blanket, maybe a couple blankets. But if you're not quite sure, even then, and to sit comfortably on the floor, then that's okay. You can try practicing or modify the movement and to practice sitting in a chair or sitting on the bed, edge of the bed. Make it work for you. But why don't we practice movement and improving how to move through your hips, so that you can improve your low back, you can improve your knees, you can improve your breathing and the posture. Well, let me talk a little bit about posture and the breathing. So If you don't have the ability to move freely through your hips, then okay, so you notice how you're breathing. If you tend to sit like this way, stuck in this way, sitting on the floor, because you simply have no ability to bring your pelvis over here to sit more vertically, support yourself in this way. Here, your breathing is compromised. When your movement is compromised, your breathing is compromised, your balance is compromised. They are all connected, right? If you have the ability to move more freely, then you can support yourself in a much more efficient way. And then notice what happens to your breathing. Notice what happens to your posture without an effort. You notice it changes. You can take a deeper breath. If you change your posture, okay, I'm stuck here. It's not as easy to breathe. Or if I'm stuck, extended, I can't breathe easily. If I'm stuck, bending sideways, leaning over to the side, I can't breathe easily. So, movement, freedom, breathing, freedom, balance, they are all intertwined and they are all connected. So remember that. So practice, let's do one simple practice on the floor. And you may have done these movements if you have been following my channel, and because this is one of my favorite positions to practice the movement, side sitting. And so I'm going to start side sitting with the right leg behind and left foot in front, then leaning on my left hand. I'm not holding myself stiff. It's okay. This is not bad. You can allow your spine to collapse. I mean, collapse sounds not great, but you can allow your spine to soften. Allow your chest to soften. Okay, from here, learn to move from your hips. There is a difference between moving from the hips or moving from your waist. I can twist through my waist. That's not easy. Here, it's easier. It may not be easy for you if you're not really used to using your hips, right? Hip has the ability to move through all planes of the motion, including rotation, extension. So the hip is designed to move this way. Low back can move, but not as freely, not as easily. If you start to integrate more, then the movement becomes much freer, and so will your breathing. And your posture will become more efficient and easier, effortless. Here, so you're learning to turn from your hips and learning to integrate the whole body with your hips. So that turn, you can turn very easily. It's not a strengthening, okay? You don't need to have a lot of strength to do that, but you need the brain that is helping and organize all the parts, integrate all the parts to allow this movement to become easy. Easy. Here. So practice with your eyes closed and really tune into your body, sensation of the movements in the body, how you can turn from your hips, and how you can allow your hips to connect with your torso, your spine, the whole spine, to turn. And then switch over to the other side and go through the sequence. Again, learning to access. If this is difficult, again, you can make it easier and practice sitting on the blanket. Place the blanket underneath and then go through these movements a few times. Here, bending not from your waist, but from your hips. That has the ability to rotate more freely. Then connect with your torso. Then you can turn further. Feel the difference in your body, not just by watching it. You have to sense the movements from the inside so that you get to know your body and get to change the way you move. And that's how you retrain the movement patterns. If you don't connect with your body, your brain will not be engaged and will not really change. So keep that in mind as you practice the movements. and you're becoming freer. And then when you start to notice the changes in the way that you move, you can turn further, you can turn with less effort. Then you check your posture, check your breathing. You will notice changes, right? You feel taller, your breathing is deeper. And you can walk around and notice the difference. After you go through this practice, about 5 minutes or so, I guarantee you that you will feel a difference in your body. So let me know how you feel and share your experience in the comments. Any questions, please write your question down in the comment. Let me know. So if you like this video, and please support my channel by subscribing and hitting the like button. And if you want to become the best expert in how your body wants to move, and please watch my free masterclass. The link is in the description. Check that out. And you can apply for my comprehensive movement course called Understanding How Your Body Moves Method course. All right. Well, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.